Athena, an interactive musical mystery, presents
A twist on the old see, hear, and speak. No evil storyline. For over 44 years, I have been living within a virtual prison. It's not made of bars and steel. It's a prison of perception, built out of other people's disbelief. I was found in a court of law to be suffering with delusional disorder and forced to continue living my life as inmate number 90125, locked inside a virtual prison cell. An invisible force field surrounded me, powered by other people's emotional reactions of disbelief and designed to stop me from ever proving my story was true. The problem? No one in the judicial system bothered to examine the evidence. If they had, they would have realized two things. I was telling the truth, and I wasn't suffering from delusional disorder at all. I was suffering from chronic PTSD. And like any other convict, I was not allowed to profit from the supposed crime. But here's the thing. Being the incommunicado impresario behind a you solve it musical mystery rock opera is not a crime. It has never been a crime to ask some of the most famous rock stars in the world to write and sing songs about my poster, Athena. And it has never been a crime for musicians to respond to requests like mine by releasing songs that grew out of a fan's request either. I get it. I completely understand why no one is willing to believe this story. From the get-go, I knew this was one of those, you're not going to believe it until you see its stories. Unfortunately, no one was ever willing to see it for themselves. This mystery started with my poster, Athena, which I created in 1980. I later added a dedication for John Lennon, which I had printed onto my remaining copies. Then, in the early summer of 1981, while writing a letter to Yoko Ono, I was working a traveling sales job with Martha Davis of the Motels. It was Martha who suggested I use the name Athena for my poster. That name, and my poster, became the kickoff for a musical mystery that would echo through some of the most famous songs of the era. To prove my story was true, I did what any rational person would do. I gathered the evidence. I was more than willing to show everyone how the lyrics and the images I noticed in the mushroom cloud on my poster synced up. But instead of hearing my story with an open mind, everyone jumped to the false conclusion that it couldn't be true and then came up with reasons to support their disbelief. That is the very definition of confirmation bias. The press, the courts, and the VA mental health department all operated on a simple principle. Hear no truth, see no truth, speak no truth. They refused to look at my evidence and called it a symptom. They called my persistence a fixation. They locked the virtual prison door and threw away the key, sentencing me to a life where my own work was used as proof of my supposed delusional disorder. It seemed like everyone feared upsetting the famous musicians involved. But here's the irony. Examining the songs is exactly what those artists wanted the public to do. What started out as a wonderful marketing tool for the record companies and their artists was instead manipulated by the system into proof of my delusions of grandeur. Now, in the 21st century, we have new tools. I used AI to analyze the lyrics of The Who's song Athena and my poster Athena. AI was able to find over 20 specific thematic connections and create a detailed response. And what do you think their response is going to be now? Their new argument most likely will be garbage in, garbage out. They may claim that the AI is just my echo chamber because I provided the evidence and controlled the direction for the system to take. So let me straighten you out on this. For 44 years, I've been condemned for having evidence they refuse to see. And now, I'll most likely be condemned for using that evidence with a modern logic-based analysis system, keeping me imprisoned within the perfect catch-22, a prison with no possibility of setting myself free from my confinement. There are a lot of things in this story that you may feel you would like to argue with me about. Stop right there. In this mystery, you're not being asked to play the role of these artists' defense attorneys. Instead, you're being cast to take on the role of a detective. Your job is to figure out what, if anything, I have stated is indeed true. Detectives, this game is afoot, and it is your role in this rock opera to solve the mystery. Here's a hint or clue for all of you detectives to consider. I was 13 when the Beatles song Revolution was released in 1968. And even at that young age, I got what the song was about, especially the following lines. You say you got a real solution. Well, we'd all love to see the plan. You ask me for a contribution. Well, we're all doing what we can. Years later, I felt like I had come up with a solution that the song was talking about. My solution was to create a poster and then go on to create a musical mystery to help bring about world peace, something that the entire world could have fun solving. I now leave it up to you, the public, to solve this mystery. You might start by trying to answer this question. Would Yoko Ono really grant my wishes to bring about world peace? Using a mystery based on a poster with a dedication I wrote for John Lennon? And would Ono, or someone connected to her, send my requests onto Paul McCartney, Pink Floyd, and The Who? Thus, proving the line, we're all doing what we can, to be true? Is Yoko Ono really a kind enough person to do something that no one would believe she would do and grant a fan's wishes, making his wildest dreams a reality? By granting my wishes, Yoko Ono unknowingly turned me into becoming the Vanilla Sky Guy. I was living the dream of having my wishes come true, while simultaneously living within a nightmare because of a glitch in humanity's brain. A glitch that refused to believe my story and refused to find out if it was true, preferring to denigrate me instead. After all, how many people can say that Tom Cruise portrayed them in a movie? In retrospect, what I have been forced to endure as a direct result of creating this musical mystery has a definition and a name. The definition is brain shaming, the gaslighting of my reality by a world that refused to see the truth. And the name is psychoderelict. It's the name Pete Townshend uses to describe what I was forced to live through, a societal outcast pushed away by friends, family, and the rest of society. Why? Because I was brave enough to create a You Solve It musical mystery rock opera that everyone was too afraid to solve.